Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to teach you how to make my harvest blanket, and these are the supplies that you're going to need. So to start, I'm using my absolute favorite yarn for making blankets, and that is HUE ME from Lion brand in 3 different colors. There is a main color and 2 contrasting colors. Now you can make this blanket in one solid color, and honestly I think that would look amazing. But if you want to follow my striping pattern, as you can see here, I used 1 main color and 2 contrasting colors. So for the main color, I chose this one. This is called Fatigues, and I used 4.5 skeins of this color. And then for each of the contrasting colors, I used 3 skeins each. Now, if you want to add tassels, keep in mind you will need 1 additional skein in each color. You're also going to need a 7mm or L crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a tapestry needle. So the stripes of this blanket are actually vertical stripes, which means we're going to be crocheting long vertical strips and then assembling them together at the end to make our blanket. So go ahead and choose whatever color you would like to start with, and we're going to work our first strip of our blanket. So to begin, we are going to make a foundation row of 15 foundation single crochet stitches. Now, if you don't know how to do that, I'm going to walk you through it. So to make your first foundation single crochet, you're going to chain 2. And now you're going to locate this back bump at the back of the very first chain you just made. And you're going to insert your hook into that back bump. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And your first foundation single crochet stitch is made. So now I want you to notice we now have 2 loops here. We're going to insert our hook under both of those loops, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, and yarn over and pull through 2. And our second foundation single crochet is made. So once again, you're going to insert your hook under both of these loops here, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, and yarn over and pull through 2. Insert your hook under both of those back loops, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, and yarn over and pull through 2. So I want you to go ahead and work this foundation row. Again, you're going to make 15 of these foundation single crochet stitches. So pause this video and then I'll meet you back here to start our second row of this first strip. All right, welcome back. So once you've finished that first row of foundation single crochet stitches, you're going to chain 1 and flip that foundation row over. And now this should look familiar to you. And now we will start working along the tops of the stitches like we normally do. And now for this row, this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So you're going to make 1 double crochet in the very first stitch and in each of the next 4 stitches. So you should have 5 double crochet stitches total to start with. And now you're going to skip the next 2 stitches and we're going to work a harvest stitch in this next stitch. So to do that, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch and pull up a loop. And one more time, we're going to repeat that. Yarn over, insert your hook again into the same stitch and pull up a loop. And you should now have 7 loops on your hook. You will yarn over and pull through 6 of those loops. That's going to leave you with 2 loops on your hook. And then yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops. And now chain 2. And we're going to do that all over again, still working into this same stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch and pull up a loop. And again, you should have 7 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 6 of those loops, leaving you with 2 loops on your hook. And then yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops on your hook. And your first harvest stitch is made. All right, so moving forward, you are going to skip these next 2 stitches. And now you're going to work a double crochet stitch in this stitch and in each stitch to the end of the row. It should be a total of 5 double crochet stitches. All right, so you should have a total of 10 double crochet stitches, 5 on each end, and then your harvest stitch in the center. So once you've finished that row, go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work. And now we're going to repeat that same row. So you're going to work 1 double crochet stitch in each of the first 5 stitches. And once you've completed those first 5 double crochet stitches, that's going to bring you to your harvest stitch. And now we're going to be working in this chain 2 space here. So yarn over, insert your hook into that chain 2 space and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain 2 space, pull up a loop, and one more time, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain 2 space, pull up a loop. You should have 7 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 6 of those loops, leaving you with 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops on your hook. Chain 2, and now we are going to repeat that. So again, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain 2 space, pull up a loop, and last time, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 6 loops, and yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops on your hook. And now you are going to work 1 double crochet stitch in each of the last 5 stitches of this row. And now once you've come to the end of that row, go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work. And now what you're going to do is you're going to pause this video and you're going to repeat this last row we just worked until you have a total of 59 rows using the harvest stitch. So if you're counting your foundation row, you should have a total of 60 rows. But you should have a total of 59 rows using the harvest stitch. So go ahead and pause this video, repeat this row until you have a total of 59. Again, 59 using the harvest stitch, 60 total, counting your foundation row. And then I will meet you back here to put the finishing row on. And welcome back to my harvest blanket tutorial. So once you've put on a total of 59 rows using the harvest stitch for a total of 60 rows, including your foundation row, go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work. And now we're just going to put on our finishing row. It's just going to be a row of single crochet stitches. So I want you to start by working 1 single crochet in each of the first 5 stitches. Oops. And once you've completed those first 5 single crochet stitches, you're going to work a single crochet in the top of this puff stitch, the first puff stitch of your harvest stitch from the row below. And now you're going to work 3 single crochet stitches in this chain 2 space. And now you're going to work a single crochet in the top of this second puff stitch here. And now you're simply going to finish out the row by working 1 single crochet in each of the last 5 stitches. You should end with a total of 15 single crochet stitches all the way across. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work a row of slip stitches all the way down this long side. We're going to be prepping our strips to be assembled together at the end. So you're going to work a row of slip stitches all the way down the long side. Then you're going to fasten off at the bottom here and then reattach our yarn here. And then we're going to work slip stitches all the way up this other side here. Okay. So you want to have a total of 120 slip stitches, okay? I know working along the raw side like this is sometimes tricky, and it's not always easy to see where to insert your hook. And really there's no rhyme or reason to it, so I don't want you to overthink it. And as you get going, you're going to notice that you're going to start inserting your hook into the same places, and it'll be easier to find. But I just look for any place. Again, we need 120 slip stitches total. So here's my first one here. All right, so I've worked my first 4 slip stitches, and I've worked them along the first, basically along the first 2 rows. Okay, so you want to think basically 2 slip stitches per row, even though we have a total of 61 rows. I ended with a total of 120 on each side, and that worked perfectly for me. I'm going to keep going here just to show you a few more, or show you how to find spaces for your slip stitches. So I just put one in here. I got another little space here, so I'm going to go ahead and make one there. All right, so now I've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slip stitches. And I am about, yep, I'm 4 rows up, so I'm still staying consistent with 2 slip stitches per row. So go ahead and pause this video. All right, you might be on pause for a few days at this point, because what you're going to do is you're going to continue to work your slip stitches, again, all the way down to the bottom of this. You're going to fasten off, turn your work, make sure it's on the same side. Slip stitches tend to only show up on the side that you're working them on, okay? So you want to make sure that you don't flip it over and work down the other side. You want to make sure you keep it on the same side. Here, I actually have a finished one here so I can show you what I mean. So you can see how I've got my row of slip stitches on each side here, okay, and they're facing me. So that's what I mean. You want to make sure that you're working your slip stitches with the same side facing you each time. And once you've made your slip stitches on each side of this strip here, you are going to make 6 more of these, okay? So you're going to make, again, 3 in the main color and then 2 each in each of your contrasting colors. All right, so go ahead and put this video on pause. You're going to work all of those strips and then meet me back here, and I'm going to show you how we will use our rows of slip stitches to attach our strips together to form our blanket. All right, now once you have added your slip stitches down the long side of each one of your strips, now it's time to start attaching them together. Now, first you want to make sure that the right sides are both facing each other, and then you've got them lined up as best as you can, because we're going to be joining here. Let me zoom in a little bit. We're going to be joining both sets of slip stitches together. So you want to make sure that, you know, everything's kind of lining up. You also want to make sure that the bottoms are together, the like your foundation rows are together, and then the top rows are together. You don't want one of them switched around because your harvest stitch only goes one way, so you don't want it to look, you know, you don't want to have harvest stitch going one way and then going another way on the next strip. So you just want to make sure that everything is going the same direction. All right, so I'm just going to show you here. So the slip stitches that you made, we are only going to be working into the inside slip stitches. You're not going to touch these, or the loops, I'm sorry. You're going to be working into the inside loops of your slip stitches, and you're not going to touch the outside loops. So I'm going to show you first before I attach my yarn. But you are only going to insert your hook into the inner loop of each slip stitch. So like this, okay? And I'm not touching the outside loops of my slip stitches. So only going through the 2 innermost loops. Now, whatever yarn color you use to join your strips, I found it really doesn't matter that much. You do want to use one of the colors of the strips that you're joining. Okay, and for me, I'm just going to use my main color, which is the fatigues. I'm just going to, again, I'm inserting my hook into the inner loop of my very first slip stitches on each of my strips. And I'm going to pull my yarn through. And now once I pull my yarn through, I do chain 1, and then I will make an actual slip stitch going into those same loops where I joined my yarn. All right, and now we're just going to continue to go down the line, inserting your hook into the inner loop of each slip stitch. And we will be creating slip stitches. Did I say that? Did I say that we're going to be creating slip stitches all the way across? So this does create a slight texture on the outside of your blanket. Just continuing to work into those inner loops and making a slip stitch all the way down. All right, and once you've put on a few stitches, you'll see what I mean about creating a slight texture. You can see how we've got a little bump here, but not too much. but you can kind of get a sense of what it's going to look like once they are joined. So go ahead and pause this video, and you are going to join all of your strips together, all 7 strips. Now you will have like the outside of your blanket. Obviously we're not going to be working on you know, either side of these slip stitches, but it just gives a nice finished clean look to the edges of your blanket without having to put a border. Anyway, yeah, pause this video, join all of your strips together, and then I will meet you back here to of our blanket. Okay, so let's make the tassels for your blanket. So you're going to need 2 tassels per strip. So you've got 3 strips in your main color. You're going to need 6 tassels in the main color, and then you're going to need 4 each in each of your contrasting colors. So to make your tassels, you're going to want a cell phone. I find that this is one of my son's old cell phones. I find that a phone is the perfect length to loop your yarn around. And then scissors. I like using a big pair of scissors. For me, it's easier to trim the tassels with a bigger pair of scissors. So I just take my cell phone and I loop the yarn. I wrap it around a total of 30 times. And once you've looped it around 30 times, I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm still holding on to this. I probably should have done this in the beginning, but I just cut 2 additional pieces of yarn, and I make sure they're a generous length. Okay. I just kind of, this is my unofficial way of making these. I'm sure there's somebody out there that has a better way. I take one of my pieces of yarn and just run it through the loop and secure it. And now the other side of my loop, okay? This is where I take my scissors and I just make sure it's even. Oops. Just take my scissors and cut that. And now I just kind of shake it out and try to get everything to lay nice and evenly, because now we're going to gather this up and tie it around the top here. Get that out of my way. Try to make sure these are as even as possible. All right. Tie that up. And now I'm once again going to take my big scissors. Then I just kind of hold, I try to pull everything together, and then I trim. Now you see why big scissors are so much easier for something like this. Okay, and I'm going to shake this out, and then I kind of look at it again just to see if there's, you know, I kind of redo it, and sometimes, yeah, there's a couple of long pieces there, so then I'll just cut those off. It does not need to be super perfect. I certainly don't cut mine. I don't cut mine perfectly, I know that, but and then once you've got your tassels, you are going to attach them right at the center of each harvest stitch, but I don't attach it in the chain 2 space. I kind of just pick the stitch that is, you know, closest to that chain 2 space, and I will pull, you know, I'll pull it through this way, and then, you know, and then I just attach it. But this is where the placement is going to be for each tassel all the way across. Okay, so I've got all my tassels here in all of my colors, and I'm going to get to work attaching all of these to the bottoms and the top of my blanket. All right, friends, first of all, I apologize for that background noise. My neighbor is plowing his field that is right in front of my cabin here, so there has been it's been a noisy place for the last couple of hours. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I really hope you had fun making this blanket. I really enjoyed making this blanket every step of the way. I'm so happy with the end result. I was really second guessing myself when I first designed this blanket, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I hope you are too. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!